I knew something was wrong in my core. I'm like, something is not right. And I don't have a name, I don't know what it is. And at being that young, you don't even know about mental health.
So the first symptom that I noticed was the risky behavior. And risky behavior for me was, I would very quickly get the impression that I could walk into a party and that anybody I wanted, I could go home with. And it was a very dangerous emotion to have, or a dangerous feeling to have.
When I was roughly around maybe 22, I was having nights where I couldn't sleep all night. I would go days and days without sleep. And my energy levels were really high, my thoughts were racing. I was spending a lot of sleepless nights just writing and writing all my feelings. I felt like I was some kind of chosen one, that I had to solve the world's problems. In my case, I had a situation where I actually left my house in my pajamas and I was wandering the streets, listening to music and talking to myself and doing things that were actually a little dangerous.
It accumulated with me dancing in a fountain pretty much naked and getting a lot of attention for that, obviously, and being taken to a hospital against my will.
The financial part is a big one. You could be extremely irresponsible financially. And with relationships, sometimes it manifests in like your sexual promiscuity, cutting old friends and getting new ones and just not thinking clearly. You're making a lot of instant long-term like decisions on a very short-term whim. And that is part of what mania was for me.
I'd left my partner and I couldn't tell him why. I just needed to be free, and it accumulated with them knocking on my door when my baby was about 17 days old and evicting me from my house for non-payment of rent. And my credit cards were run up to a maximum. When I came back down again, I couldn't believe the mess that I created.
When you lose your inhibitions, you lose your awareness of what could be dangerous and what couldn't be dangerous. That's generally characteristic of mania. And so a lot of people almost enjoy those feelings until they become unsustainable. So some of them won't actually notice that this is actually part of an illness and not just, a feeling of enlightenment or, divine inspiration.
I had come down off a really big high, and I was looking at the destruction around me and I was completely devastated. And I finally said, this is not just depression. Like, I'm feeling horrible right now, but there's got to be something else. People don't go out and destroy their lives. Now it seems I've done that over and over.
You really go from a really high to a feeling of complete worthlessness. It just feels like somebody just deflated your red balloon. A lot of people wish that they would go back to their mania when they go through a depressive episode, because they're like, wow, when I was manic, I was making these beautiful paintings and now I don't even want to wake up and brush my teeth.
I just slept all day, lots of suicide ideation, go to the psychiatrist, have our meeting. He's like, will you accept treatment? Will you accept help? And I just bowed my head for a second and I thought about it for 30 seconds. And I said, I don't want to die. So yes, I accept help.
One thing that I wanted was help, because I felt very out of control and it was just not fun anymore. I missed sleep, I missed having thoughts that I could actually take account for and feel like I'm in control of my moods, feeling like I'm in control of my reality, instead of feeling like reality was being thrusted upon me. So in my first episode, I definitely felt like I needed help. So I was pretty willing and pretty complicit to the treatment.
I finally saw a professional for a diagnosis when I was 38. So almost 20 years in between of up and down, medication, no medication. My diagnosis from the mood disorder clinic was actually almost comical, because I went in to see this doctor, and 5 minutes into this conversation about my behavior, he said, well, you're bipolar, don't you? And I kind of looked at him and went, no. He's like, nobody's ever told you that? And I said, no. And that was the start of my recovery journey.
It's a matter of learning what your self-care needs to be in order for you to be sustainably healthy. For me, that means drinking water, taking my meds, having the right amount of sleep. It comes to a point where you have to be very protective of yourself. That includes really understanding what your triggers are.
The thing that helped me balance things out was really finding other people that had similar experiences. Like, I was so ashamed and so embarrassed by so many things I had done, but when I finally found the nerve to talk about them, or I heard people talking about similar things, I was like, wow, there's other people like me.
I just hate when people think that when you have a mental illness, that just means that you have to make decisions in your life and you can't fulfill everything you want to do and your dreams have to be scaled back and like that. No, you can still attain it. It just might look different than what you originally thought.
You know, my illness used to be my worst enemy and it used to be really scary, and I'm not afraid of it anymore. Everybody can recover. It's just a matter of really committing yourself to your treatment plan and sticking to it and feeling powerful about it rather than feeling embarrassed by it or ashamed by it. This is my condition, but it's also not a life sentence. It's just something that may shape my life in a different way. And I need to care for myself a little extra, and that's okay.